30 months ago, the marketing industry was shaken by a product that all of a sudden was in the hand of every entrepreneur. It would change the very vocabulary that entrepreneurs would use. Risk reversals, value equations, grand slam offers, and guarantees started to flood the market, all because of this book. Well, 4 months ago, the industry was shaken once again, with 400,000 entrepreneurs racing to learn how to get strangers to buy their stuff. I'm talking about $100 million leads. But today, we're not here to talk about what's inside the book. We want to see what's behind the book, the funnel that Hormozi used himself to get 400,000 strangers to buy his stuff. So if you want to get more customers in 2024, then get your notebook out, get ready, because this is going to be a masterclass on turning more of your traffic into customers. The funnel strategy that Hormozi uses to sell this book has actually changed since launching it. Now, you might be surprised at that because they sold over 100,000 copies on day one. So why would they change it? But it's because Hormozi understands something very important about getting customers. Here's the thing. Hormozi launched this book with a big event. He marketed this event for months leading up to it and drove hundreds of thousands of registrations for people to come and watch this event. And he didn't really reveal what was going to happen because he was using curiosity to his advantage. However, when he got people to the event, he sold this book, and we're going to look into that in just a minute. First, we're going to start with what they're doing today to convert their traffic into customers. So on shop.acquisition.com, Hormozi is selling this new book, $100 million leads, and we're going to tear apart this funnel and see what he's doing well and probably what he could do better. So I typically like to start with where my eyes go first, right? Because that's the most important part of the page. And you can plug this into fancy softwares. There's one called iQuant that will give you a heat map of specifically where people are looking, but I'd assume it's two places, Hormozi's face and discover the secrets of $100 million leads. Now, let's start with the headline, because arguably the headline is the most important part of the page. This headline is what we call a product headline. And the reason it's a product headline is it leads with the product, $100 million leads. Now, there's some curiosity in here, discover the secrets of $100 million leads. Honestly, in my opinion, this headline is just okay. Granted, hopefully they tested this and hopefully it's outperforming the other variations. The reason I think this is just okay is because typically when you make a headline, you want it to have a few things, or at least one of these few things. You want it to either be useful, urgent, ultra specific, or unique. Now here, you're not really hitting on any of those. However, if you look at the subheadline, learn how to generate leads that are ready to buy whatever it is you sell, that is pretty useful, right? So I almost think the subheadline down here would actually perform better as the main headline, and then the next logical train of thought would be discover the secrets of $100 million leads. But again, hopefully they're split testing and A/B testing that. I'm sure they are. Now, if you look at the rest of what's going on, just right here in the initial fold, this is called the initial fold of the website because you don't have to scroll, right? This is an old newspaper term where before you folded the newspaper, what did you see, right? So same goes for here on this website. So if you look up here, we have #1 bestseller on Amazon. We have over 400,000 copies sold. We have trusted by Forbes, USA Today, and more. And all three of those statements are trying to gain trust and rapport, right? They're trying to kind of establish that this is something that has been proven is valuable, okay? And we have 2023 new release $100 million leads. This I think is pretty great. You know, you're showing that something is new, that it's novel, right? That it encourages people to want it. And then you have this image, and what's very, very good about this image is it has this element of social proof. All these people in the back holding up the book, right? So that's an element of social proof of these people that have already bought it. This isn't just some Joe Schmo who just made some book about marketing. Now, learn how to generate leads that are ready to buy whatever you sell. You can see they bolded and underlined that important part of the subheadline, ready to buy whatever it is you sell. That's great. And then they have more trust, 1,000 reviews, 5 stars or 4.9 stars. And they do something here that probably is hurting their conversions. They have 2 buttons, typically, not always, but typically 2 call to action buttons on the initial fold of the website is going to harm conversions. And that's because the confused mind doesn't buy. You want to direct people to one action. So if it was my funnel, I would just say buy $100 million leads now. But again, hopefully they've tested that. Sold over 40,000 copies worldwide. And once again, more social proof. And that's something that's so important in funnels. You need social proof, social proof, social proof in many different forms. And that's something that I think they do pretty well here. I'd probably give them an 8 out of 10. They do well because they have multiple forms appear on the top. I wish this was highlighted more, right? Especially this trusted by Forbes, USA Today, and more. But they do pretty well here. Which brings us to the next section. Once again, more social proof. But what they could do better here, I think, is using more experts, right? So they say loved by leading entrepreneurs in the space. But I mean, at least me personally, I don't know who any of these 3 people are. So if they showed some experts that have bigger names that people know, they're going to be able to borrow that rapport from those people. And somebody who does this really, really well is Sabri Subi in his Sell Like Crazy book funnel. You can see right here, as soon as you scroll on Sabri Subi's funnel, he has a very similar section where he shows all of these verified people. Dan Lok, Nathan Chan, Greta, Mike Dillard, Craig Ballantyne, all of these people, and it even shows the followers they have, just kind of lending or borrowing some rapport from those experts. So non-expert, non-famous testimonials are great, but you want a balance of both, but still pretty good. One thing I think that could be done better here as well is showcasing a headline, right? I don't know if Sabri actually does that. No, he doesn't do that there, but something in here that you can pull out of the review to make it into a headline, like a staple in the business world. Adding that up here in bold will drive more curiosity to get people to read this review. Now, the call to action here says discover the books. This is a little bit confusing because it's all about $100 million leads. So why is it now discover the books? So you haven't introduced anything about other books. So it should just be discover $100 million leads. So next we have read these 273 pages if you want to 2x, 5x, or 100x your leads within the next 12 months. So this is a very good headline here. This is even better than the one they have up here. It would probably convert better if they change those 2 around. And the reason why is it's very specific, right? 273 pages. And it's a very specific promise, 2x, 5x, or 100x your leads within a certain time frame, right? So the promise is very, very strong because you can kind of deduct if I 2x, 5x, or 100x my leads, man, my business is going to grow like crazy. Use the tactics in this book and you'll force new leads, or you'll force leads to find you. And then again, discover $100 million leads. This call to action is honestly decent. I don't love the word discover, but again, hopefully they've tested that. Average rating of 4.9 out of 5 stars on Amazon and over 19,000 reviews. What's interesting here is they have 1,000 reviews up here and they have 19,000 reviews up here. Probably not making a big difference, but consistency is really important in your funnel. So you want to make sure everything matches, because if somebody doesn't know Hormozi, they might be like, whoa, like what's going on here? I thought you said it was 1,000, now it's 19,000. Is this, legit? But I love this design here. I love how they're showcasing these reviews. It's not a boring slider. It's something that looks really, really good. And that's something that good design should do. It should encourage people to keep going down the page. Oftentimes, the design is more frustrating when people, just go too crazy with design. But Hormozi's team has done a really good job at not overdoing it, but actually using it to aid in the retention of the page. And here we go, over 100,000 copies sold on release day. Meet Alex Hormozi, $0 to $200 million a year. And they hit on these, bullets that again are giving Alex more trust and more rapport that will make you trust him and ultimately want to purchase the book. They get over 20,000 leads a day. They say that is insane. That's a lot of leads. A lifetime average return on ad spend of 36 to 1, a return of 3,600%. So again, they're bolding these points that drive the point home, right? They're not bolding the entire text. They're drawing your eyes to 100 million by 32, 20,000 leads a day, return of 3,000%, $46 million valuation, right? So they're drawing your eyes to what they want you to see. And again, discover the books. A little bit confusing because we've only talked about one book here. And then if we scroll down to this next section, we actually get to more of the product. So I'm curious, if you click buy, okay, so it doesn't actually take you to the product page. That right there, they're probably losing quite a bit of money because this page only has the $30 offer. What that button should do is anchor down to this section of the page. Again, hopefully they tested this, maybe they tested it and it didn't work better, but in theory, this section would convert higher, at least as it relates to average order value. And the reason for that is simple. This section is pushing people to buy a 3-pack of books that costs $90 and comes with a hat, as opposed to a $30 book. So this is going to boost the average order value up, and this is extremely smart, but most people probably don't see that if they don't scroll down to that section of the page, which is why the button should anchor down to that section. And a certain amount of people are even going to buy the 10 pack, right? And of course, some people are going to buy the 1 pack, but this is an extremely smart way to sell more books, to put them into 1 pack, 3 packs, and 10 pack. Now, this next section, again, there's something I want you to see here. I'll start off with saying Hormozi's design here is better than 80% of the market. However, there's something here that you can probably see with your eyes if they're well trained, and that's your eyes don't really know where to go in this section. You have this text here, you kind of have this weird paragraph here, and then you have these bullets and then this text that's small, so my eyes don't get pulled in naturally with where to go. And then I don't really love the 3 and then the 2. I'm kind of getting nitpicky here. I doubt this will affect conversions. However, if this was headline right here in the middle, sub headline underneath, your eyes know where to go. And then if it was 1, 2, 3, 4, I guess you need all 5 chapters here because this is, or 5 sections here because this is 5 sections, but somehow showing that in a little bit easier of a way and then moving the button down here, I think would just look a lot better. But again, that's me nitpicking. Not as important to conversions. And then 1,000 ratings here. Once again, I thought it said 19,000 reviews up here. So I think they just need to update that because again, you want to be really, really consistent. And then we have a headline here. We help thousands of entrepreneurs set up their $100 million lead machine. This is great. See how they have the headlines here inside the reviews? That's what I meant above that they could have done. And they have, 5-star reviews, verified buyer. I love that trust badge there. In a world where a lot of people use fake reviews, sadly, it's really great to add in that extra trust. Obviously, somebody can put that and be lying that's a verified buyer, but I don't believe Hormozi is lying here. And they have more reviews. That's great. And this is what I mean. These are great reviews. They have pictures. These are, average, everyday people. I think above, if they had experts, it would push the point home a little bit more. Again, same section here. I think this could be easier to read a little bit. This is for business owners, for new entrepreneurs, and for marketers. And then it talks about the benefits that each one will get. That's great. And then it has an about section, which is, great. Add some trust. And again, once again, read the books, but we've only seen 1 book so far. And then finally, they show all 3, which I think is great. And that shows most popular for the newest one that they want to sell. And then the last call to action, if you haven't already bought the book, their last kind of ditch effort to get something from you is to get you to sign up for, their newsletter with new free value pieces and book releases. I still would like to see some sort of call to action here at the bottom that will push people back to that page. So let's go look at this. Let's look at the 3-pack here and look at the product page. So it's going to be a lot of the same here. The Wall Street Journal bestseller. Again, what are they doing? They're just pushing rapport and trust. I love the collector's edition copy. I think that's great. And they have kind of the headline in here. Green price tag that typically works better than like a red price tag because green typically it kind of signals a good deal. And the great copy, I mean, they do a really, really good job at putting in the copy. Add to cart, they have, the payment icons there. Adding in a review there, very, very smart. They have how to order, what it will show you, description, all the information people may need. A lot of the same information from the homepage. And then a review here. This is a great example of pulling an amazing review over into a headline. He's going to change the world by making your life better. That's awesome. And the next section, what $100 million leads will teach you. This is great how advertising works. The 4 ways to get leads, turn your leads into fans. And then it goes over a breakdown of the books. I love that. I think this would be better, honestly, on the homepage than that section they had. But again, I don't think that's hurting conversions a ton. And then once again, 1,000 reviews, I should say 19,000. And then they have an FAQ, which is awesome. You always want to do that. And then they finish off with a call to action. Read the books, buy it now, strong headline. This headline is what should be on the initial fold of the website. How to get strangers to buy your stuff using $100 million leads. That's great. And then they close that once again with the newsletter. Now, in the beginning of this video, I mentioned he's used 2 funnels, and that's because on launch day, he didn't launch with this fancy website. Their website was actually extremely bare on launch day, and they still generated over 100,000 sales. Well, how'd they do that? You might have been there yourself. They hosted one of the biggest book launches in history with hundreds of thousands of people signing up. And they sold over 100,000 copies in that day alone. Now, the reason they had a simple site that day is because all of the education, all of the selling that is done on this website now, back then, was done on the event. So he knew the awareness level of people that would land on this site were extremely aware. They were product aware. they were already sold on the book. He didn't have to do all this stuff on day one. In fact, it might have even confused his buyers. So by doing this later, when now the traffic hasn't watched that event, is extremely smart. You need to match your funnels with the level of awareness. Are they completely unaware of the problem you solve, the solution you solve, or are they completely aware of your product and they're ready to buy? That's going to change the way you speak to them. So this has been really a masterclass in how Hormozi has gotten 400,000 book sales over the past 4 months. If you enjoyed this video, I think you'll enjoy this one as well. I'll see you there.